News this afternoon, one of the 10 escaped inmates from Orleans Justice Center has been recaptured this afternoon, according to the U.S. Marshals Office. Antoine Massey, who has been known for making social media posts as he's been on the run, he was one of the 10 inmates who escaped from the Orleans Justice Center several weeks ago now. He and Derrick Groves were the only two remaining still on the run. But this afternoon, we have learned at WWL Louisiana that Antoine Massey has been recaptured. We just got off the phone moments ago with the U.S. Marshals Office. They confirmed to us here at WWL Louisiana that he is, in fact, back in custody, that he was taken back into custody in the Holly Grove neighborhood. And investigative reporter Mike Pearlstein is joining me on the set this afternoon. You just got off the phone with them. Tell me what else you know. This happened in Holly Grove, as I mentioned?
Right, in the 9400 block of Strolitz, not far from the Costco on the way to Metairie Road. This was all within the past hour, so this is very fresh news and information. Antoine Massey was found inside of a residence. He was alone. He, according to Brian Fair of the U.S. Marshal Service, he was captured without incident. In fact, he gave himself up once surrounded by law enforcement. This actually came from a Crime Stoppers tip, Katie. So we know that a $50,000 reward had been offered for some weeks now. They had been waiting on tips, in fact, pursuing some of them unsuccessfully until today. This tip panned out. Somebody will be collecting $50,000. It came through Crime Stoppers. Other agencies involved, the U.S. Marshals were kind of leading the search, but instrumental and at this residence were representatives of the New Orleans Police Department, Louisiana State Police, U.S. Marshals, of course, along with JPSO, not far from the Jefferson Parish border.
Yeah, it's right on the line.
They assisted. Obviously, they were taking, no chances or risks with these. This particular escaped inmate being considered potentially armed, potentially dangerous, but it ended peacefully. He's now back in custody. Obviously, he'll be facing a charge of escape in addition to the previous charges for which he was being held at the Orleans Justice Center of domestic violence that included rape.
Yes, absolutely. Now, this area that we were looking at on your screen, this is a map where that house is, where Antoine Massey, one of the Orleans Justice Center escapees, was taken back into custody. If you're just joining us, that happened just a few moments ago. This area is really not too far from Xavier University's campus, which may be a bit unnerving for some parents out there who may be watching this, to know that Antoine Massey was hiding out in a house right there, not that far from the Costco, where a lot of people frequent. Hundreds, thousands of people go through that Costco every day. And apparently Antoine Massey did not get far when they escaped from the Orleans Justice Center, and remember, all 10 of them.
It was kind of assumed in the case of Antoine Massey in particular that he may not have gone far. We saw that previously he posted a video of himself on social media that was identified as a house near the fairgrounds, which was promptly descended upon by the law enforcement agencies. He had not been there, so assumed that whenever he videotaped that, it was sometime earlier before he posted it. But that gave them an idea that he probably had not fled across state lines or anything further. What is interesting, we've seen in many of these other escapees, accomplices arrested, booked with accessory to the escape. Right now, no such other people known to be involved in helping him, assisting him. Nobody was at that house in that Holly Grove area when they descended upon it to make that arrest. He gave himself up peacefully. Now, of course, we'll see once they debrief Antoine Massey if he provides any additional information. He was considered, Katie, one of the masterminds of the escape.
We learned that, yes, through the fact that they've arrested several other people, and so that has given us a bit of a paper trail as we've continued to cover this.
And he's been perhaps the most visible by popping up on social media. There had been many tips generated about his whereabouts, including the one himself going on social media. They were able to pinpoint a house there. It's now almost 6 weeks since that escape. It is really considered remarkable that Massey up until today and Derrick Groves, the
Yes.
other escapees still at large, managed to stay out for so long with such a large reward being offered.
Apparently one tip is all it took.
That's right, and that is always the kind of mystery of being a fugitive. How many people know of the whereabouts? Yes. Who did he trust? Well, apparently, I don't know if it was him letting his guard down or somebody deciding 50,000 was just too tempting to pass up, but it was in fact a Crime Stoppers tip. And Brian Fair, the spokesman for the U.S. Marshal Service, said that reward will be collected by the tipster.
Yeah, well, obviously there's still a $50,000 reward for information out for Derrick Groves.